Okay, so I'm Tricia with Easy E-mini Trade, and I'm presenting this webinar for Maria from Trade Order Flow because I'm a fan of the tools. I've been using them for about a year. You've had plenty of time to see the disclaimer here. So basically, don't trade with money that you can't afford to lose. And I'm just going to give you a heads up. We're having a really bad thunderstorm, so fingers crossed that I don't lose you guys. Hopefully we don't lose power here for a second. Sometimes it'll come and go like for a split second. And it looks like Maria just made it, so I just muted everybody except for me. So good, she had a crisis with a family member and a broken down car, so it looks like she made it. So great, so everybody's here. All right, so today we're going to go over trading using order flow and value areas. Like I said, I've been using these tools, I guess next month will be a year, and I'm really pleased with them. There are many different ways you can use them. I'm going to show you the way that Maria teaches us to use them, and most of us put our own little twist on them. You can use the current setups that you currently trade and back it up with order flow confirmation. So lots of different ways that you can use the information from the tools that Maria offers. All right, so I don't know how many of you are familiar with market profile, and I'm not going to go into great detail. You'll notice if you look in your control box for GoToWebinar, there's a section there for handouts. In there you'll be able to click on that PDF and download it and save it to your computer, and that will give you access to these slides. So you'll have them, so you'll be able to click on any of the active links. So a market profile, if you're not familiar, is a vertical graphic that displays price and time, and this allows you to see at a glance the price levels that have the most concentrated value. And I'm going to show you an example of this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just give you a brief overview of how Maria teaches us to trade using these tools, and then I'm going to show you on a chart what we're looking at and why we're looking to take trades. And then we're lucky enough to have four students of Maria's who are willing to share some of the trades that they've taken. So she has lots of students doing really well. She just had one make it into one of the trading combines. I don't know if you're familiar with those. You probably saw my email this morning. Actually, we found out later that she's had two now that have made it. So I know lots of people doing really well implementing the order flow tools in with whatever they're currently using as mentioned. All right, so we use a market profile based on VWAP, which is volume weighted average profile. We can use time, price, opportunity, or volume. So everything is very customizable, and I'll show you that in just a second. So what I'm going to show you today is based on the VWAP. That's my preference. It doesn't have to be yours, and it's not everybody's, but that's what I prefer. And if you're not familiar with the concept of market profile, Peter Stadelmeyer from CBOT was one of the market profile developers, and it was released to the public in 1985. Yes, being recorded, Ted. And if you want more information on it, you can read his book. It's pretty hard to get through, I will admit, but this is like an interactive tutorial that you can get at the CME group, and like I said, you can download the PDF that is in the handout section, and you'll be able to click on this link from there. I did find Mind Over Markets by James Dalton a little easier read, so if you're wanting to know more about it, I would definitely urge you to read whatever you can get your hands on. So this is basically what the market profile chart looks like. So vertically, this is the week excluding today. So here is Monday, here's Tuesday. Wednesday's not on here yet because when I took the screenshot, the market's still open. And then this is the week so far. So it's putting at each price level, it's putting a letter. And here, by me expanding it just a little bit, you can hopefully see that these are all little letters based on the time interval that you decide to put it at. So I've got 30 minutes here. So I'm just going to go back one here. So you can see where all the concentrated volume is for the week up until today. And in this little box here for the week, this would be the fair value area. And what the fair value area is where 70% of the volume is traded. So a lot of people can look at this and do just fine. I don't use this chart at all for anything, to be honest with you, because the one chart I'm going to show you, it's a regular, I use it as a candlestick chart by choice, but it will mark these value areas for you. So, at a glance, this is really helpful. You can see the different levels where, like I said, price is concentrated. So like here, for example, on Monday, actually this is Sunday night, but you can see lots of volume here, lots of volume here, but no volume here. So I'll show you later why that's going to be helpful to you. So like I said, the value area is the area that 70% of the trades took place. Yes, there is sound. You guys can hear me okay, right? Okay, great. So I'll just send that out there. And Maria is here in the house, so if you guys type in any questions, she'll answer any questions that you guys have via the keyboard, okay? And then later, if we have time, she will be able to use the mic. Everybody's saying it's okay, so I'm not sure. Hopefully everything's okay, the sound, but everybody pretty much said it was okay. All right, so prices above the fair value area are considered to be above value, and prices below the fair value area are considered to be below value. And right in the middle of the fair value area, you're going to have the point of control. And you'll find that when price trades to the high or low value areas, that very often price is going to try to make its way back to the point of control and then the opposite end of the fair value area. If price trades outside or above or outside below the fair value areas, very often price is going to, again, find its way back there to the fair value area. And let me just show you this real quick. I'm going to just pause my screen and I'm going to bring up my charts here. All right, so this is my chart. And looking at this, and this is all customizable, these are the colors that I like. So I find it very easy to look at. So the chart that you're looking at here is marking our fair value areas and our high value area and our second high value area. And if you look at this, the yellow is our fair value areas, or are our fair value areas, I should say. This orange line here is the first low value area. This brownish line is the second low value area. And then up here, we have our first high value area, second high value area. And I'm using this as volume weighted average profile, correct, Ted? But you can choose anything. If you look at the indicator on here, you can see that we have lots of options here, lots of options. You can, right here under calculation mode, I chose VWAP. You can choose TPO or you can choose volume. You can use balanced or greedy. I've never used greedy. I can't say what that looks like. You can change your colors that you're using here, inside here. You can plot the previous day's value areas, which I do, and point of control. I mean, there's lots of options here. And you can actually do a lot right from here. Just put a check mark next to what you want and what you don't want. So the purple line here is the point of control. And the blue, the red, the green, the red, the blue dots all here, these are previous days value areas. So what we're looking to do when we're trading is we're looking to trade when price breaks out of this yellow area, basically. And what we do is we back it up with the order flow. So you can take a buy when it breaks out here. You can take a buy when it breaks out here. All these lines that we have here, these dots, you can take the breaks of those. You can take the breaks of the point of control. When it gets to the low value area, you can take the breaks of those. And that's provided that the order flow confirms it. This is for Ninja. I should have prefaced that. Sorry, Mervin. But these are for Ninja. And so what I do is I run the free demo of Ninja and using these tools, and I still run Sierra at the same time because I'm not willing to give up Sierra. And I just have a plain old stochastic on here. I like it, and I'll show you why I like it in a second. So this is what our value area chart looks like. Pretty easy. And what you'll often find too is that price will go from coast to coast. That's what Maria calls it. Goes from one side of the fair value area down to the other side. And you'll see that cycle very often throughout the day a couple times, depending on how fast the market's moving. You'll see here it came outside the value area, outside the profile itself. And what we would look for is we can look for a pullback to that first high value area here and take it as a buy, as a bounce off of that, like a pullback, as long as order flow confirms it. Or we can wait for it to trade back to this fair value area, see if it's going to hold, and if order flow confirms it, you can take a bounce off that. So lots of ways that you can trade that, and I'll go into that in just a couple minutes. I want to show you, go back to the slides, and then I'll show you where we left off here. So you just saw my value area chart, and the colors make it really nice visually. So a really effective way to trade using those value areas is to use the order flow as confirmation. It's basically your confirmation for getting in the trade. We have all those levels that I just showed you on that chart, but how do we know price is actually going to go? You know, how many times have you taken a breakout and, you know, just to get sucked in the trade and then it pulls right back on you? Order flow can help with that. It's not going to eliminate having losers. That's not possible. You're always going to have losers, but this helps a lot with that. So the market profile tells us where the value areas are and the areas that price will either hold or trade back to, and then order flow will tell us who's in control at the time, the buyers or the sellers. So that helps determine whether price is going to hold or break through those value areas that I just showed you. And Maria, can you answer Ted's question via the keyboard? All right, so I'm going to go back here, and I'm going to put up the order flow and show you what that looks like, and then I'll put them side by side, and then we can get started with everybody else that's going to present here today. All right, so there is the order flow chart. Now, everything on here is customizable as well. So this, what you're looking at is the way that I like to look at it. So this will also plot the value areas, and everything's dynamic. So the value areas are continually changing. So if price takes out the high of the day or the low of the day, the market profile is going to change. So this red line here would be the value area high 1. This would be value area high 2. This would be the point of control here in blue, value area low here in red, and value area low here in green. And the blue lines that you see on here, this will mark the swing highs and swing lows. In here it's called pivot highs, pivot lows, whatever you like to call it. And the way that you're looking at my order flow on here, and I'm just going to make it a little bit bigger so you can see, hopefully a little clearer. I'm just going to make them big and fat. So I'm looking at this with the buy orders on the right, sell orders on the left. And you're always looking at these on a diagonal, just like you do in your trading dome. But if you don't like to look at it like that, you can look at it as bid times ask. You can look at it as just a delta number. Graduated volume. So you have lots of choices. So my preference is the bid-ask ladder, and I use that for everything. I like it. I've tried them all, and in the beginning, it was a little haphazard because I was trying every option that I had, and then you just kind of stick with what you like to use. And Maria's answering your questions there via the keyboard. So over here on the left, I've got the prices, and here, and this again, with a click of a button, I can show this, not show this. I can show the volume in here, the volume numbers, not show it. But over here, we've got the volume at each price level. And you'll notice here, if I scrunch this up here just so you can see, it's going to keep track of all the volume there. So the darker the blue, the more volume, more volume, more volume. The lighter the blue, the less volume. So lots of options that you have here is you can show the bid and the ask down here. The way I have it set up is I want the delta to be the first item that I see. And if you're not familiar, the delta is the difference between the buy orders and sell orders. So here, for example, where you see this minus 374, that means that you had 374 more sell orders than buy orders. So what we're looking to do is we can see when we're looking at this chart, we can see the flow of the orders coming in. Obviously, you're looking at this now after the fact, so you're not seeing orders come in, but I will scroll to the end so you can see them even though there won't be any volume this time of day. But these numbers are always changing. These numbers are always changing. And so what we're looking for is when we're looking at, oops, wrong one here. Let me click the wrong button there. There we go. Where's my ninja? Here we go. So when we're looking at price breaking those levels that I mentioned to you, here's the open right here. So we're breaking this area here. So what we're looking for at that time is we're looking for a positive delta here. And I know that sounds so simplistic, but that's what we're looking for. I want to see more buyers than sellers. So right here, when we got the break of this area right here is around 9:34 this morning, as long as I had more buyers than sellers, I could go ahead and take that. Up here, when we broke outside the top level here, as long as I had more buyers and sellers, I could take that. Now, like I said, this number is constantly changing, and you'll see those value areas here. So right here, you can see this first value area in red. When it's breaking that, as long as I've got buyers, I can take it. And then I would be looking as a target, I'd be looking at the next high value area, which is this green line, which would coincide with this line right here. Then once price breaks out again, I've got a value area here from yesterday. When I'm getting a break of that, as long as I've got more buyers than sellers, then I can go ahead and take that. And what's nice about this, let me just scroll over here. This has an action bar, and it's not much action going on right now. But this will, and you have the option to look at this box or not. I like to see it because this usually has the more aggressive orders coming in. And so when you're in a trade or you're getting ready to take a trade, you can see your delta, of course, but you can also see the flow of the orders coming in. So let's say that you were looking to take a buy on the break of this red line here, and you've got your order flow bar forming here. And at the top of the bar, you can see in looking at the orders that you have really low numbers, let's say, on the buy side. But on the sell side, looking down to the left of it, you have higher numbers on that side. You might want to just pay attention and wait until you see more aggressive buy orders coming in before trying to take that. A lot of people will wait for a break and then let it retest it and then take it. So there are many different ways that you can trade it. On this chart here, you have the ability with the order flow indicators to look at it as an up-down tick or bid and ask, tick count, again, whatever you like. You can put the Fibonacci numbers on there. And I have it to where it will plot unfinished business, and I'll show you what that is here. Let me find one. So you can see here in looking at, here's one here. This is late in the day, so this won't be a good one, but you can see here on this bar, and I have this on a 5-minute chart. Now, a lot of people will say, you know, why are you looking at that on a 5-minute chart when you're trading off an 8-range chart? That's what this chart on the right is. It's an 8-range chart. And you can look at this on anything you like. If you want to look at it on the same size chart that you're trading off of, that's fine. And that's pretty much what I did at first. Maria uses a 5-minute chart, and I just thought it was not comparing apples to apples, if you will. But after using the tools for a while, I realized the 5-minute chart worked well because it's basically giving me the bias off a larger chart than what I was trading off of. So I'm getting basically a bias off a 5-minute chart, trading off an 8-range chart or a 4-range chart, whatever, again, your preference is. But right here, you can see this green circle here. Now you notice on these bars, it's just like with the dome, you're looking at it on a diagonal. And generally what's going to happen is these are going to zero themselves out. So you notice up here on the top, we have 0 on the left, 1 on the right. On the bottom, we have, on the left side, we have an 8. On the right, we have a 0. So generally, those are going to always zero themselves out. Here you notice it didn't do that. So that's considered unfinished business. And what I'll do is when I see one, I'll mark it, because what happens is at some point, usually not too far off in the distant future, price is going to come up and trade back to that and finish that business. Now, granted, that's the end of the day. That's just about 4 o'clock. So not the best one to show, but let me find one earlier today so I can just give you an idea. And I watch for those all the time. So like, let's say that you were, here's one here. This is at 10:30. So let me just go ahead. I'm going to mark that. So let's say that, you know, you're in long. You would just keep an eye on price retracing back down to this 41.50 because it's likely going to happen. So we actually broke out there, but you can see this did not zero itself out. We've got that unfinished business mark there. So let's just scroll ahead and see when it finished. So it was a little while later, but you can see it came right back down to that area and finished its business. So then I would go ahead and I just erase that. Another really great way to trade these with the volume at price is you can see all the heavy volume here, all the heavy volume here, all the heavy volume there. So how that is really helpful is if you look here, you can see price holding in this area here. We have this higher volume. If you have a setup that you can take short, then the likelihood is that it's going to move lower to that next high volume area. And then it'll consolidate in that high volume area. And then if it moves lower, it will be sucked back down to the next high volume area. And the same on the upside. And that happens over and over and over again. It's really helpful for taking trades. We look for those all the time. Over on the chart on the right, I have more than just today's on here. You can see this outline here. And I choose to leave that on there. A lot of people will just use this volume here, but you're always looking for those little suction areas. And like I said, they work really well. And we're always looking for the flow of the orders to keep moving in the direction that we're looking to take a trade. So like I was saying before, if we are looking to take a buy, we're looking for the buy orders to be flowing in here as we're breaking this high value area here. If we were breaking this low value area here, then I would be looking for sell orders. Now, another way to use this is, let's say that we were long and we wrote it all the way up, let's say, or let's say we were short, either way. So let's say we're short, and this is the end of the day, so it's not the best example, but as we're short, you can see here, for example, the order's slowing down here on the sell side, and here, like toward the bottom here, compared to here, you have 116 sells down to 26, down to 9. So that's going to give you a heads up that, hey, it doesn't look like there's a whole lot of interest down here at this 15 or 1475 area. This is the NQ, by the way. You can use it on anything. So you might want to tighten your stop if you see that, or take some profits off the table. So as mentioned earlier, we're looking for breaks outside the high value area, level 1, level 2, shorts below low value area 1, low value area 2. Now, I will trade, and as long as order flow confirms it. Now, I'll trade back into the fair value area. Maria doesn't generally like to trade when it first comes back into the value area here. I will do it if, let's say it was just coming up, let's say it was coming from below and it came up to this area, tried to break out and failed. I'll take it if I have divergence confirming it. And the same with the point of control here. This purple line is the point of control. Basically, in this yellow area is where you're going to wind up in the chop zones, where you're not going to get often a lot of follow through. Not to say always, but if you've got the patience, you can enter in short up here and ride it all the way down to the low value area here. Excuse me. So I'm always looking for divergence if I'm going to take, take it into that fair value area. Here, I don't have it, so I wouldn't have a reason to take it. But, even here off this point of control, I'd be willing to buy a bounce off that in this instance because I do have divergence to the upside. I know that's an area that we're probably going to get stuck on. So I'll use my stochastic. I'll see that we've got divergence to the upside, so I'd be willing to buy that as long as order flow confirms it. It's always confirming with order flow. So here, technically you could buy this when it bounces back into the fair value area. Like I said, a lot of people won't trade them when they first come in, but they would take the re-short. They would take a short entry here as it broke again, as long as order flow confirms it. So all these areas we're going to trade over and over and over again. And it sounds simple, but it does take some practice. And mainly what we're looking for is that delta, looking for the delta to confirm. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to hand this over to, who's first on the list? Ivor. So let me just go ahead and Ivor, I'm going to unmute you and make you the presenter. And we're going to see Ivor's trade. So Ivor, just hit yes that you want to show your screen, and I've got you unmuted. Great, we see it. Perfect. So everybody, this is Ivor. This is one of Maria's students, and he's doing really well with the tools. And Ivor, how long have you been using the order flow tools?
About 5 months.
Okay, so 5 months Ivor's been using them. And let's hear how Ivor took his trades here.
I'm going to share 2 trades with you. The first trade was on crude. It was taken last Wednesday. It was a short trade for 1 contract. I entered the trade at the first LVA, which would be right here. The red arrow shows it. And I entered at 1039 at a price of 61.39. My confirmations were the red delta on the order flow chart, which is right here. Plus I had other confirmations on the 8 range chart, which would be a number of other indicators to break down DM plus, MR scale, which is an oscillator, and the better volume. I manually trailed my stop and exited when the delta on the order flow chart, which is over here, turned green for a total of 41 ticks. Do I have any questions?
So I'm looking at what you did here where you got in. Now it looks to me like you wait for a break of, in this case, the low value area, and then you look for it to retest, and then you'll take it after the retest, Ivor?
Yes.
Okay, and is that typically how you enter?
No, I was busy doing something else, and when I got back to it, that's just the way I took it.
Oh, okay. Okay, great. So if you were paying attention, would you, as long as order flow confirmed it, would you have taken the break of the first value area there?
Yes.
Okay, and that still would have gotten you a nice chunk of change there as well. So either way, it worked out nicely. Now on the chart on the right, you'll see that Ivor's got some like salmon color boxes and green color boxes. They'll appear when you have aggressive buyers and sellers step up. You'll see some little tiny arrows as well. I don't know if you can see them, but you have the ability to have the order flow chart mark up the ABC or 1, 2, 3 pattern if you trade that. I don't trade it, so I don't use it, and I don't, for myself, I don't use the boxes that mark the aggressive buyers and sellers. So yeah, let's see your next trade, Ivor.
Okay, my second trade was on the NQ. It was taken last Thursday. It was a long for 2 contracts. I entered at the first HBA, which is over here. I entered at 10:02 a.m. at 4501.25. My confirmations were the green delta on the order flow chart, and then I have other confirmations on the VWAP or the 8 range chart, which would be the DM plus, the MR scale, and the better volume. Here again, I manually trailed my stop and exited when the delta on the order flow chart changed to red, which would be over here, and for a total of 38 ticks.
Nice, very nice. So in looking at that, where you exited, once it bounced again, if order flow confirmed and whatever else you require, per your own trading plan, you could have re-entered that on either one of those bounces off that yellow area, correct?
Yes.
Very nice. Now I want to just show something. You see Ivor's first arrow there where he entered on the left? And look all the way to the right of his chart that he's got on the left. Ivor, would you just point out that volume vacuum area there? So notice how when it broke that first, yep, right there, when he took the entry, it was at that high volume area, and notice how easily it was sucked up to that next high volume area. So that's what we were talking about earlier with those volume suction areas. They work so well over and over again. I had no idea about those levels. Now, obviously, when we're marking support and resistance, that's pretty much telling us the same thing. But without using the volume by price, you really don't know, where those high volume areas are at the specific price levels. So that's great. So obviously you're really happy with the tools, and I know that it's helped your trading immensely, and I really appreciate you presenting today. So thank you so much, Ivor. Anybody have any questions for Ivor? And we can always go back to asking these guys questions. Okay, great. So I'm going to mute Ivor, and then the next up is Bruce. So I'm going to go ahead and make Bruce the presenter. And Bruce, when that screen pops up for you asking if you want to show your screen, just say yes and let me unmute you. So Bruce is going to bring up his chart.
Okay, it's there.
We don't see it.
Oh, I don't. I thought you were going to bring that
Oh,
up.
I can bring it up. Would you
Yeah,
like me
I
to?
don't. Well, I haven't had much time to prepare
Okay,
it
that's
for you.
okay. Then let's bring it up. Bruce actually just got out of the hospital, so we appreciate him being here.
Yeah.
So let me just get to your screen here. All right, so this is Bruce's trade. So I'll do the pointing for you, Bruce.
Okay.
Okay.
Where is?
Sorry
Is
about
it
that.
there?
Yep, it's up.
I don't see it.
Let's see. Oh,
That's
you know
weird.
why? Here, because I need to be the presenter again. So let me take it back. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Here we go.
Oh, okay.
All right, there we go.
Okay. Are you going to be the presenter?
Yep, I'm the presenter, and then I'll just do your pointing for you. So you talk and I'll point.
Let me get this thing out of the way. Okay. I just took the. Excuse me. It was a short on the NQ when it was going below the first low value area, which is that blue dotted line right there. Right, just to the right, you can see my first yellow arrow that points to where my entry was. And I've got two contracts I trade on this live, and the first one I take off after it hits 3 points. The second one I take off after it hits 10, but this one I thought was going to fall a little bit lower than normal, and I kept it on there a little bit longer. But if you look at the left chart, uh, it shows the delta area was red, where I took that, yeah, right in that area, a negative 359, and then as that trade started moving down pretty good, it started turning to a deeper red color. And then as this thing moved along, the next section over, you see on the delta turn to a green 119 figure, and that kind of gave me a heads up to kind of look for this thing to start heading back up again. And that's about the point where I exited the trade. I think I ended up with 11 and a quarter points on that second contract. And it shows I made a total of 275 on the trade for two contracts. If you can do that, one time a day, you're doing pretty good.
Absolutely, absolutely. So how long have you been using Maria's tools?
It's been almost a year.
Okay.
Yeah, and basically the things I'm focusing on are mainly her delta figures,
Mm-hmm.
and I've got, like you do, your first thing is shown on the chart on that, and I just basically focus to see what that delta is doing, if it's going red or green, and then I look over to the VWAP chart and see where it is in relationship to the high value area, low value area, and then as long as I get in that trade, the delta confirms that the trade's going in the direction I want, especially when it changed at 840 on this chart and showed a deeper red color and a negative $1,100 reading. Really felt good about that moving down south, and just I kept in it a little bit longer because it was a deeper red color and made a little bit more than I normally would on that kind of a trade.
Nice. And again, looking at the volume, you guys, notice where he took his trade here off of this bar right here on the order flow. Look at the volume down here. And where was it sucked down to? It was sucked down to that next high volume area. So I can't stress enough how helpful a tip that really is in watching for those volume areas. So I find it really helpful. And also, you'll notice on Bruce's chart, it might be a little hard to see, but he's using the fib numbers as well. So up here, this black line, you can see 50 here. I can't read it, but here's minus 127.2, and you can customize all those as well. Christy wants to know, what was your stop on that?
The stop.
Yeah.
Oh, initially I think it's about a 3.5 point stop.
Okay.
But when I make the that first contract that takes a 3 point profit, I'll move it up to break even.
Okay.
I think maybe a positive tick or so. And I also try to, as those I move that down as each on the VWAP chart, as those bars go down. I'll kind of use, as it goes down, I'll use maybe the top of that preceding prior bar as a stop,
Okay.
plus a couple of ticks,
Okay.
and it just kept moving down. And that in that area right there where it had like 3 bars in a row, I just kind of kept it up above that, just above it a little bit, and it just kind of dropped down a little bit. When it started turning green, I got out.
And realistically, when it retraced back here,
Right, you could enter again short.
as long as there was, the confirmation over here, so, and then you could re-enter, once it broke here, then you could re-enter when it pulls back there, pulls back there. Now, obviously, after, quick move like this, you're going to be cautious on how many of those pullbacks you're going to take because, realistically, after a move like that, we're probably going to chop around for a little bit. But
Right.
that's really great, Bruce. Well, I really appreciate you taking the time today. So again,
Okay.
thank you so much. So what
Sure.
I'm going to do is I'm going to mute you, and next up is Steve. So Steve, I'm going to unmute you and make you the presenter. And you kind of threw me off there because you didn't use your whole name. All right, so Steve, a screen's going to pop up and just say yes. So it should ask you if you want to show your screen. Ooh, nice. That's really nice. All right. So
Okay, hear me?
Yep, we can hear you. We can see you. We're great. Perfect.
Okay. One of the things I wanted to do when I was introduced to this new system was to be able to maintain my indicators, which I've had for years, and I really like them. So I wanted to marry them together with the new system, which I was able to do.
Awesome. So
Up
what I
here, I
wanted
had
to
a break.
point out real quick before you start, excuse me, was this is a perfect example of how Steve is using order flow to trade other setups. So take it away, Steve. Sorry about that.
Okay. Usually, this would be an area that I'm looking to go short on right here because on this is MACD BBs, and sure enough, we got to move up, but she didn't. It's a zero line. She didn't go all the way back up, so she. And then when I trade here on the break of the LVA and fired up and took it all the way down. The second one that I took was, now this is a software that I have that's a zoning software which shows where the buyers and big buyers are and sellers, and this line was here. And as we get down to the profile, you have to see the profile here on the right. Usually when you get in this pink area, that's the bottom of the profile. That by itself is considered, you could be looking at as a trade. For it to go back up, I think Tricia was talking about how it starts at one end and goes to the other end. When I see it down here pink, I'm always look high. But here's the buyers were down here, but then they stepped in, the software came in that I have and showed that to me, and then I got the break right there, and I took it right into the 50 fib and then POC right there. So I just took it right out of POC. But it's combining all your indicators together. It's confirmation on top, confirmation on top, confirmation.
And
so it works quite. Yeah, I'm very happy with that.
awesome. And how long have you been using the order flow tools?
Since January, so that would give me, what, 6 months?
6 months, that's great. And so you'll notice that where Steve was taking those entries coincided with those low value areas. And then, chances are he doesn't have it on the screen, but he's probably backing it up with the order flow chart as well, making sure he.
Yes, I did.
Okay, excellent.
Yes, I did.
Really nice, really, really nice. So did you want to show us your next chart?
Yeah, this would be in your room, Tricia. You have the ski room that you run, and that we work on super as the indicator of the break of the super trend, and that's our entry, either short or long. So this is this. Can you see it?
Yep, now we see it. Yep. So what Steve's talking about is I have a setup that I like to trade. We call it the Slinky, and so that's what Steve was mentioning, where you see that red dotted line up there. That's the indicator.
Now this is where you can use the order flow on the indicators that you like. Once again, we had a break here, a super trend, and she was coming up. I set the order flow to a filter. I said, give me medium, low, medium, high. I set it at medium. So a lot of times you won't see any trades coming in here because there weren't enough volume in there to generate a trade. But medium-wise, they started coming in, and as soon as we started coming up to the break area, whether it's going to break or fail, I started seeing these buys coming in, and then all of a sudden, sure, she popped, and then I had follow through, and then she started tapering off, and then she followed through, and I also had it confirmed down here, and I also used another indicator here that confirmed it too. Once again, layer upon layer upon layer of confirmation.
Right, perfect. And that's the point that we're trying to get across, you guys, is that you can make it your own by adding whatever indicators you like to use on your own. Like I like the super trend stop myself as well, but you can trade the market profile chart with the order flow by itself. Those are setups. Those are valid entries. Or if you have setups that you love to trade, then you trade those in conjunction with those areas, those value areas, and the order flow.
Maria's charts are very versatile. You can change them to fit anything you want as far as trading.
Exactly, exactly. Well, great. Let's see. Christy's asking, is the indicator below a MACD? Are you talking about?
Yeah.
That's a MACD. Okay.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
Yes, it is. It's the velocity Momo to it. But you can go ahead and Tricia, you can go ahead and, if she's interested in it, I think you have a copy of it someplace.
Okay.
And then also, I think and then Maria has it too. So you need to talk to these. When you get into these, I purchased this myself, so I don't really want to get into it. But there's some of it that are free that you can get.
Right. Well, perfect. Great. Well, thank you so much, Steve. So
but this is okay. Thank you.
No, do you have anything else that you want to add? I'm not trying to rush you at all.
No, I think that's pretty much about it. It's just I didn't want to give up my old and happy with. I was able to manage.
I understand completely. Okay. So thank you, Steve. Okay. So I'm going to mute you, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to find Christy. I know she's here. So I'm going to make, let's see, Christy, I'm going to make you the presenter, and it's going to ask you if you want to show your screen, and just say yes, and let me unmute you. Unmute, please. Here we go. There we go.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes. Now we just need for you to just click. Let's see. Did I make you a presenter? Yes, I did. So you just have to choose to show your screen. There we go. Perfect. And now we just need your chart, and we're good to go.
Okay. Can you see the chart?
The chart is off the screen, so we can see like your desktop on the left, and then just a piece of your screen. So
how about now?
No. I can bring it up on mine if you want, and I can do the pointing if you want.
Can you see it now?
No, it's not moving. There we go. Now we can.
Okay, perfect. Okay, great. So hello, everybody.
I'm going to introduce you. This is Christy. She's another one of Maria's students. And, we just thought that this would be a great way for you to actually hear from people who are actually using the tools, because how many times have we bought stuff thinking that it was going to work just to find out that it doesn't. So we just thought it would be great for you to hear from people who are actually just like you, just like me, trading, wanting to make a living, and see how they're using them. So thanks, Christy.
Yes, you're welcome. And I'm definitely one of those people that seems like I've been in every room and tried everything, and finally found a home with Maria and her stuff. So this is a chart of the Russell, and on the left is the VWAP chart. That's what we call it. And then on the right is the order flow chart. And one of the things, this chart shows one of the things that we learn in Maria's room, and that is to really pay attention when price comes out of the middle area and into one of the value areas, either the upper or the lower. And in this case, we have the Russell. It's nicely hanging out in this upper value area zone. And so what I watch for when that happens is I like to see a pullback to the first purple line. So that's the first value area high. and then the second line up here is the second value area high. So you can see 3 examples that I circled where price came to that lower, that first value area high and then bounced off. So as price comes down, you know, and I'm watching it come down, I'm watching it pull back, and I'm waiting for the entry, the question is always, is it going to bounce and go in the way that I want it to, or is it going to just break through and fall back down and head towards the POC? And that is where the order flow chart comes in. Now that I've been using order flow, I don't know how I could never trade without it. So my order flow chart actually corresponds to this last circle here. So that's the trade I'm going to focus on. As you can see, starting up here, price started to pull back to the lower value area. And over here, this is this first red and then second red and then kind of a doji there. That is what price was doing as it fell down. And that's what I like to see. You know, you have strong red here, but you see it's getting weaker, and here it's neutral. So when I see it come to this line that this bar that I circled, it was at that time that this green bar, and I should say this is a graphic representation of the order flow, which I really like. It just makes it really easy. So as I see the delta getting weaker, and then and I'm looking to enter, and I see this start to turn green, and we have a nice solid green, that is confirmation, and I jumped in. And then my first profit target is the second value area high, which is up here. I like to take half off there, and then for the remainder, you're kind of back to where you started, where you're looking at order flow again. These 2 purple lines, I kind of think of them as a break or bounce line. So as price comes up here, I'm really watching order flow to see, is it green, is it strong green, so that I can expect it to continue, or is it starting to get weaker and starting to turn red, where in that case I would get out, because that would tell me it's likely to fall back down. And so that's kind of it in a nutshell.
That's excellent, Christy. So how long have you been using the tool?
That makes sense. It's been about a year.
Awesome. And are you mainly trading the Russell, or are you trading other instruments, or?
I trade the CL, and the Russell I just started trading.
Mm-hmm.
So the ones that I'm the most comfortable, most familiar with are CL and the 6E.
Excellent, excellent. Well,
But Russell, I do like the Russell personally better than the NQ. So
yeah, and it's just a matter of, you know, everybody trading what they like and what kind of risk tolerance they can stand. So that's great. Now, when you're go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just going to say that, you know, we talked about an edge that we have with order flow, and, you know, this is a great example of that, because, you know, when you see price pull back to an area that you want to buy, that you're looking as an opportunity, you just don't know without order flow. I mean, it's almost just like a roll of the dice if it's going to fall, you know, break, because it usually, I mean, eventually it will break, or is it going to bounce and go in your direction? And, you know, you can see this nice green bar that gives you a pretty strong indication that it's going to go your way.
Right, absolutely, because you can see on your delta numbers there, you can see them start out real red and then get less and less, to where like you're bouncing off that area, and the sellers are almost non-existent. So that's perfect.
Yeah, and I love this graphic representation of the delta, because, you know, for my brain, it just, I mean, it has to, your decision has to be so quick, and all the information that you're processing, it's just, for me, it's so easy. You know, I see strong red, and then it's weaker, and then it's neutral, and then we have this solid green, and it's just just makes it very easy. Maria's tools makes it very easy to analyze.
Well, thank you so much, Christy. I really appreciate you
You're welcome.
participating. So I'm going to mute you and I'm going to take back
Okay.
control. So thank you again so much, everybody. Bruce, Ivor, Christy, Steve, we really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
All right, so I'm going to make myself presenter again. And so you saw the tools, you saw how all of us are using them differently and the similarities in how we're using them. So what Maria has offered is she's offering the order flow tools. Now, these are the tools listed up here, the divergence delta, market profile plus, order flow chart, price action, and VWAP market profile. These are basically what you saw today with lots of bells and whistles that you can either enable or disable. You can use alerts, whatever you like. So usually the tools come with 6 months free training, and that was really important to me when I found the tools. Is there are a lot of companies out there that have these order flow tools available, but they're not teaching you how to use them. And so that was really important for me. So you get 6 months free training, and her training room is open Monday to Friday, 4 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. Eastern. And what she's willing to do for anybody who orders these tools by Saturday midnight, she'll give you $200 off the package and 7 months training instead of 6. So that would be basically a savings of $599, because if you were to pay for her room, a month in her room would be $399. What she has offered is for the first 5 people to order by midnight tonight, she's going to throw in $1,500 worth of additional tools. And by additional tools, like this indicator that Christy was just showing you that she's using, that would be one of the items that Maria would give you for free. There's a bunch of them. She's been working really hard with programmers with all these different order flow type tools for Delta. And I mean, I can't say enough. She's got tools that you can have the Delta show up with the percentage, where you've got like 300% more buyers than sellers or vice versa. So lots of different options there. And like I said, she's willing to give $1,500 worth of additional tools for free for those first 5 people. And you can just go to tradeorderflow.com if you want to send Maria an email. If you want to see the order flow tools live, you can do a free 1-day trial in Maria's training room, and it's by request only. And you can click on that tradeorderflow.com. If you got here late, you'll notice in the handout section of your control panel for GoToWebinar, there's a handout section. You'll be able to click on that PDF and download it and save it to your computer. And so if you do that, you'll have these presentation slides, and then you'll be able to click on those links. So does anybody have any questions? Now would be a good time. And Maria, I can unmute you if you wanted to take some questions. So I just unmuted you, Maria. So let's see if anybody has any questions. Or Maria, is there anything that we didn't go over that you'd like us to talk about? Maria. All right, so I don't know where Maria is, but anybody have any
Can
questions?
you hear me?
Oh, now we can.
Can you hear me?
Now we
Okay.
can.
Hi, everybody.
So this is
Thanks for
Maria.
being here, first of all.
This is
And
Maria.
thanks for my partners in crime for participating.
Yes, we really appreciate that.
The one trade that was totally beautiful was that NQ from the top of the profile to the bottom of the profile. That is the ideal trade that actually Trisha had on her charts.
Let me put it up. And this is where she's talking about going from the top down to the bottom.
Now, on this trade, you could risk like maybe 3 points and look at the risk to reward you got. If you could sit through this chop. Now, me, I would have probably gotten out here and maybe, re-entered down here.
Well,
But if you have the patience.
I've got the arrow, so where's here and here?
Oh, sorry. Top of the profile to the red dots, which are the yesterday's high value area. okay?
Uh-huh.
And then I would have probably re-entered at the first LVA again because I, Maria, do not have the patience for sitting in chop.
So she doesn't like to trade in the yellow area, basically is what she's
Right.
saying.
But I would take this trade down from the
From
top
the,
to
okay. From here.
But this trade would have, if you have the patience, would have paid off very handsomely because you went from the top of the profile to the bottom of the profile.
And something else I'd like to point out is this is an 8-range chart. You can put this on any type chart you like. I could put it on a 1 minute, 5 minute, a tick chart. This is my preference. So, you know, you're not bound by what you're seeing here. It's the sky's the limit. Armando, go to Maria's website and go to tradeorderflow.com and you'll see the products there, and she's giving $200 off. And also, if, you know, not that I want you to put off getting these tools, because the second you get them, you're going to be on a road of something you never expected, like actual behind the scenes look at the buyers and sellers coming in, which has been a huge help to me. But she will, if you wanted to buy a month in her room at $3.99, she does take that off if you buy the tools within that first month. Now, mind you, if you do that, you won't get the special, obviously, but if you're still on the fence about it, you could always buy a month in the room and then, you know, buy the tools before your month is up, and she would take that off the package. Awesome. Let's see. I'm looking at some of these questions here.
I'm answering them too.
Okay. So anybody else have any questions? Otherwise, I'm going to, let me just stop this recording and we can take some more questions.
Jim, we're running a special on